Model Language with AAC. 2.4.
Language input refers to the language experiences that shape children's language learning. Dialect, word use, and even the cadence of some words is influenced by the language children hear in their environment. In fact, all language is learned through modeling. Whether it's part of typical language development or when learning a foreign language, real-life language experiences help us learn language. AAC learners need language input with aided language tools to learn how to use symbols and devices to communicate. Jane Corsten shares a compelling statistic that puts the imperative of ample language input to learn AAC front and center. The average 18-month-old child has been exposed to 4,380 hours of oral language at the rate of 8 hours a day from birth. A child who has a communication system and receives speech and language therapy 2 times per week for 20 to 30 minutes will reach this same amount of language exposure in 84 years. So let's explore what it means to provide ample language input. Often what people think about when they hear model AAC is, I do it and then you do it. For instance, if I said, like, now you say like. This I do it, then you do it interpretation of modeling leads to unbalanced interactions. It can even degrade into a power struggle if you're waiting out the communicator. It limits opportunities to provide ample language input, and it's just not authentic communication. What model AAC actually means is to demonstrate how AAC works. Use AAC to speak your words in natural interactions and without expecting a response. Speaking your words, not theirs, to take your turns in the interaction shows them how to do it. And it places minimal demands, just as minimal language demands are placed on young children who are learning to talk.
We are very much in the modeling stages. So we're modeling when, we voice things and we point, and then we also incorporate whenever she's like tapping, we will say it out loud and things like that.
And don't do too much. A one-word description. At first when we were getting, it was like, let's go to the park. That's how we were taught. And it's like, no, let's go park. So simplify it. Don't make it so hard. It's going to be easier on you. And your kid's going to take more in. They're going to get lost in all these non-words they don't need at this point.
Throughout this series, we'll discuss many strategies to help you learn how to model AAC. But let's take a sneak peek at what modeling AAC can look like when we are giving ample language input. One strategy is say what you see. Observe what your AAC learner is doing. Say it, then say what it means. This gives your AAC learner information about what they are communicating through nonverbal means. I see you're reaching for the paint. Let me help you. Think aloud, like on a cooking show. Tell what you are doing, thinking, and feeling. I think I'll make my flower yellow. I like yellow. You can also narrate like a sportscaster to describe what someone else is doing or what is happening in the environment. It is covered. You put paint all over the paper.
So if we know it's something said, let's go swimming. If we know it's something that he wants to do, be like, Stetson, what do you want to do? Let's go and, we'll model, let's go swim.
Commenting is social and fun, and it often adds relevance to interaction. Look at all that blue. It's all blue like water. You can also describe. Use accessible words to explain, clarify, or tell about what an individual may be learning or experiencing. Blue, red, and yellow can go together to make other good colors, orange, green, and purple.
Tyler has made more gains once we switched to modeling than prior. He would turn it off. He would look away. He would shove it away. He still, we're having a hard time for him to buy in that it's his voice. It's his expressive language. It's not a quizzing device.
Another thing I'll say that was really a hard shift for me, I'm a person who processes things mostly internally. And I remember people saying at the very beginning of this, like, oh, as you're just walking down the street, just describe what you're seeing and talk about the things on the road or whatever's going on around you. I'm like, it was just incredibly foreign to me. Like, it's so outside of how I function in the world, right? To like be talking all the time. That was a big shift for me, to be more just saying words of stuff that was going on. Felt really weird.
I can understand that.
And like doing that and modeling a little bit of it, I think that also, it just felt weird. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that some of this stuff doesn't feel natural for, how we've been sort of raised up in society, but also sort of for how our personalities go. And we got to try to think about what our behavior changes are. What are the things that we can try to do differently to help support our kid having more robust communication, sort of from all the different inputs and outputs.
Why is ample language so important? Why can't we just drill where important words are? There's more to language than just vocabulary.
There was one afternoon where my nanny called me and said, something's wrong with Sophie. She's really upset. And I could hear her through the phone. And my husband had come home and he called me and he said, no, something's really wrong. He's like, I can't calm her down. The nanny can't calm her down. We've done everything. We've put her in the bath. We've gotten her favorite toys. We've given her the iPad to play game, nothing. So I said, okay. So I went home. I was at work and I went home and she's so upset. And I'm trying to calm her down and can't. And I finally said, someone get her iPad. And we got the iPad and I said, Sophie, I know you're upset, but I can't figure this out. You have to tell me what's wrong. And it was almost like lightning. I've never seen her do this so fast. She was like, bam, 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 bam. And the message that she put up on her pod was, hospital doctor arm cast. And I looked at it and I'm like, did she hurt her arm? And they're all like, we don't know. And we start looking at her and she's a little bit red back here. And I said, well, let's take her to the ER. I don't know what else to do. And so we get in and they x-rayed and she had broken her arm. She had slammed it backwards onto a safety support in the bathroom and had broken the bone in the back of her elbow. And we got a cast, and I remember thinking, I should never, ever underestimate this kid ever again.
That's amazing.
It's still one of those moments where I almost can't believe it, but she was incredibly clear. And later, people would say to me, well, how did she know what a cast was? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, so I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, how does she know what a cast is? And I asked one of her teachers, and her teacher said, oh, no, that's easy. We did an essay on Wilma Rudolph. She picked Wilma Rudolph, and we picked, we did stuff on her communicator to write a little essay about Wilma Rudolph, and we talked about casts, because Wilma had casts on her legs when she was a little girl.
AAC learners must also learn how words go together, how to talk about their world, and how to engage with others. That happens when we show them how.